Let's stay with this quarterback thing, all right? We started talking about this a little bit yesterday. If Peyton Manning were to go down, Brock Osweiler comes into the game. How many games would you be comfortable with Brock Osweiler playing and still believe that the Broncos could be a playoff team?
John Elway, we mentioned it earlier in the week because I remember it distinctly that John Elway, his last year, was out for 4 games.
The 98 season.
And they had Bubby Brister. And a lot of people, because of his name, Bubby Brister, because he was one of those Louisiana quarterbacks like Terry Bradshaw, you know, think
good
they're
old
very
boy.
smart. Yeah. He played 4 games. And they didn't skip a beat.
They were 4-0.
4-0 during that time. Would that happen here? No. Well, Bubby Brister had actually, you'll remember this, beaten the Broncos in a playoff game when he was starter for Pittsburgh. So he had been a starter in this league.
Yeah, for 3 different teams, Pittsburgh, Philly, and the New York Jets.
Let me take you back before then, and I know you were here then too. And that's one of the advantages of us is we have a memory
institutional memory.
Yeah, we have a memory beyond last year, like a lot of people who are writing about the Broncos.
Careful.
I'm just saying a lot of people. Yeah. Well, I mean, guys come in and they go, "Oh, yeah, this never happened before." John Elway was hurt one other time during his career for a significant time. I think it was 5 or 6 games. And do you know who the backup was then? There were 2.
Was it DeBerg? Was it DeBerg?
No, Tommy Maddox.
Oh, okay, yeah, and they rotated the 2, and Sean Moore.
Yeah,
very weird deal under Dan Reeves.
Well.
No,
neither one of them had ever started an NFL game. So I'm trying to make comparisons here.
Sure.
And it's a long-winded answer to your question, but
Brock falls somewhere in between Bubby Brister and Sean Moore, Tommy Maddox. No, Bubby had already thrown for over 10,000 yards and over 70 touchdowns. He had a lot of experience as a starter, and he moved into a lineup that was full of not just Pro Bowl players, but Hall of Fame players, Shannon Sharp and Terrell Davis and Gary Zimmerman, people like that. Sean Moore and Tommy Maddox were both young quarterbacks who weren't quite ready for the big stage, and they failed miserably.
They did.
Yeah.
And they failed miserably forever, except Tommy Maddox made a comeback with the Pittsburgh Steelers years after he played in the USFL.
Yeah.
So
how many games would you feel comfortable with?
You know, I always answer directly. I'm going to answer with a Les Shapiro kind of answer. Depends on when it happens during the season.
Okay, that's fair.
If it were to happen, you want a number of games. I think they could get by without Peyton if he became fully healthy at the end of that.
Yeah.
You don't want it to happen at the end of the season.
No, not when you're fighting for
because that's what happened to them last year.
Spot, yeah.
So you could get by with it. I think there's a stretch, and I don't have the schedule in front of me, that I think they'll have a great chance to start the season 5-1, something like that. If you got off to a 5-1 start, and there were 3 games in there,
including one against the Raiders in Cleveland, maybe.
I think they could get by. So it depends on when it happens. You don't want it to happen at the end of the season. I don't want it to happen at the beginning of the season because if you get off to a bad start, they did survive that in Peyton's first year. Remember?
Yes, they were 2-3.
Yeah, and then they were almost 2-4.
And then won 10 in a row.
Before that comeback in San Diego.
All right, and I'm going to give you a more direct Woody Paige type answer.
Oh, could that be good?
I'm comfortable. If Peyton were to miss time, I'm comfortable with 2 games tops. I think Osweiler will be surrounded by enough talent that he'll be able to at least get them to 1-1. To 1-1 in those 2. No, and I'm saying only 2 games because I'm not wild about what I've seen from Brock Osweiler so far.
Okay, say it's 4 or 5 games.
I think they got a problem. I think you're looking at a team then that's going to be fighting tooth and nail to win the division and possibly for a wild card spot.
That's why I said to you, today Tuesday?
Yes.
I said to you either Friday or Monday yesterday, would you have signed a veteran quarterback?
After what I've seen this weekend, my answer is yes.
See, I can see having the young guy, but they got 3 young guys.
Yeah.
And none of them have any experience. I must disagree with John Elway here. I'm really surprised by him that he wouldn't have a Bubby Brister type. Ian Rappaport told us yesterday, you don't want a $5 million guy dragging you down, but I would love to see that third guy be somebody that's had at least some success in the NFL.
You mean the second guy? You want the young guy to be the third guy, the young inexperienced guy to be the third guy?
No. I don't mind Brock Osweiler as the backup quarterback, but I'd want a third guy that would be the guy that I would go to in tight situations.
Insurance. That portion of the big stuff brought to you by Grand Prix Motorsports.
Why is it that all the people that I'm involved with in wrecks never have insurance? That sounds like the
your
Broncos.
Source for the original motorcycle. That would be Indian Motorcycles. Let me read the ad, all right?
Okay.
Check out the newest line of Indian Motorcycles at Grand Prix Motorsports on County Line and Santa Fe, and that is Shannon.
And make sure you get insurance.
Shannon, enjoying her motorcycle.
For insurance.